The real reason Alexa Bliss returned has been revealed. Plus, we get a huge injury update and a potential WrestleMania storyline coming up for Jade Cargill. And we're going to break all of this stuff down for you guys coming up on this episode of Wrestle Digest. But before we get into it, we got to say that 92% of you guys watching this right now aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up on the latest WWE news and everything happening around the wrestling world heading into WrestleMania, make sure down below and hit that subscribe button. But Darius, we got to jump right into it. Before we talk about Alexa Bliss, we got to talk about Jade Cargill because we got a huge update from PW Insider today saying Jade Cargill has been actively training in an effort to get cleared as soon as possible. Through the nature of her injury still remains unclear. They reported that the belief is she will return ahead of WrestleMania. And this is huge because as we know right now, Darius, Naomi and Bianca Belair are the current tag team champions as Naomi stepped in the absence of Jade Cargill. So a lot of people are speculating online. A lot of fans are fired up that we may potentially get to see this Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill feud that we wanted. And I think it would just be the perfect way to start this feud by costing her the championship, leading to a match at WrestleMania.
They have the perfect setup here. They just walk backwards into this storyline, I think, at this point. And can I just say that I thought that the Jade Cargill injury was a work at first, because and you really can't tell these days. Obviously, WWE usually does a good job of, blurring the lines, but I honestly thought it was a work at first, but clearly not. She's training very hard to get back. She wants to be back for WrestleMania. Again, a lot of people were surprised that she wasn't in the Royal Rumble. I guess now that we know, the injury is very real, it makes a lot of sense. But I think that they're walking backwards, falling backwards into this storyline. It's perfect for the WWE and these two specifically because I think this is, when I saw them as tag team champions and when you saw Jade Cargill come in and the potential for her to be a dominant force in the WWE once she gets some experience under her belt in the WWE, as soon as they became tag team champions, I'm like, there's no other way for this to end than one of them turning on each other, right? To set up that storyline for them to have a singles match and then they can go their separate ways and Jade Cargill can go on to do her singles run, right? So I think they're just, leading to that. I think it's going to happen. It's probably going to happen at WrestleMania, which I think is awesome. It's going to be a great singles match. I think this WrestleMania looks like it should be stacked again. I don't know if it's going to be as good in terms of the road to WrestleMania as last year, but WrestleMania itself looks like it's going to be stacked and pretty good. And again, they're walking backwards into this one. I think it's a no-brainer for the company, for these two. And when Jade comes back, I wonder if she turns heel. I wonder who turns heel in this ordeal because we've already seen like a snippet of it of Naomi obviously hugging Jordynne Grace in the Royal Rumble and Bianca Belair was like, what's that all about, right? So I feel like there's going to be some drama going on now with the partnerships as Jade Cargill comes back and be like, hey, like why'd you team with her for the tag team titles? Like we were partners, right? So I could see a heel turn coming for one of them, probably Jade, and I think that's going to be very interesting heading into WrestleMania. And again, I think it's a cool storyline that they fell into their lap.
Yeah, I think you kind of broke it down perfectly there, mentioning the Naomi and Jordynne Grace hug, and Bianca kind of was like, "What's up with this type of thing?" That might even set up a triple threat here if there's turmoil between tag team teammates, and then Jade comes in and costs them the title. That could lead to an amazing triple threat match. But me personally, I'd love to see Jade and Bianca because when we've seen her in her first Royal Rumble, we've seen that incredible face-off between Bianca and Jade, something a lot of fans, including myself, were excited for as soon as we heard she was headed to WWE. So I think it's like you said, it kind of fell right into their laps, and it's something fans have been waiting for, and when she comes back and costs them the championship, it's going to be a big, big pop, I think. And it's just great to hear that she's on the road back, and before WrestleMania, it's just great to hear for us wrestling fans. But the big thing, the big ticket item on the menu right now is Alexa Bliss heading to SmackDown. They say the original plan here was several weeks ago for her to stay on Raw. Obviously, Raw on Netflix, you kind of want to keep the talent there. It seems like that's the way they're going right now. But we see Alexa Bliss heading to SmackDown. Darius, what's your initial thoughts to this?
So I think before, correct me if I'm wrong, KC, but they already announced that the Wyatt Sicks was moving to SmackDown. I don't know what happened in contract talks and how close it was to the Royal Rumble with Alexa Bliss in the WWE, but I think it was already announced that they were headed to SmackDown. And I think when they found out, Alexa Bliss was returning, to have her on Raw would be the best case scenario because it's a returning superstar. Obviously, that's hot. A lot of fans are going to gravitate to that. And to have her on the Netflix flagship show now on Netflix is a good idea. It's a good business decision. But, looking at it now, you have to have her with the Wyatt Six. Wherever they are, which is SmackDown now, you have to have Alexa Bliss go there because she has to, I wouldn't even say finish the story, but carry on that legacy. Like we saw her come back with that type of attire. The last time we saw her at a Royal Rumble when she faced, where she was going one-on-one for the women's championship, we didn't see her like that, right? So she came back and she's kind of playing into that role again. So I think it's very interesting in that way, that, she can go ahead and continue that type of story with the Wyatt Six with this great opportunity. So I want to see how they play with that. Maybe not with the Wyatt Six, maybe against the Wyatt Six. There could be some fun stuff going on there. So I think SmackDown has potential to have some fireworks with those, with that group going there. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know exactly what they have in store, but I think to have them on the same show was a no-brainer. I feel like they wanted to have Alexa Bliss on Raw, but the fact that it was already announced that the Wyatt Six were going to SmackDown, she has to go where they go because that is the story to tell right now. First of all, her returning, I think that's the first one you kind of dive into.
Yeah, definitely. And just to kind of give some proof to what you just said here, I mean, we've seen her come back at the Royal Rumble with the Fiends / Friends Forever jacket on, giving a nod to the late great Bray Wyatt, rest in peace. And obviously we seen her kind of come out with that Wyatt Six-esque look, and like you said, Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six have been moved to SmackDown, but as one Twitter user said exactly what we're thinking, am I the only one thinking, where are they? Like, we haven't seen them since they've been announced to SmackDown. We were teased the return with The Miz going to SmackDown, and they never showed up during his first match. Where are they? And that is a very valid question, because this was announced maybe 2-3 weeks ago now. I think it was January 13th, so however long that was, I mean, it's almost half a month ago, so had to be 2 weeks ago or more now at this point, and we haven't seen them on Friday Night SmackDown. But now with Alexa Bliss coming back, I think the real reason that she came back is to carry on Bray Wyatt's legacy and get involved in this storyline, because she knows him better than a lot of people did. Obviously, Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas being his brother, so obviously he knows as well. So I think having, his best friend per se in Alexa Bliss and his brother in the same faction carrying on his legacy, I mean, that's just pure cinema.
Yeah, and the fact that, I think that is a big reason. I think you nailed it on the head there. I think another reason she wanted to return, she wants to be back wrestling, right? By all accounts, she's very happy to be back and she wants to be back with the organization and back performing. So that's great news too. And again, WWE, we see it time and time again. They pivot all the time. So maybe they do end up on Raw. We don't know where they are. And on Monday Night Raw, we mentioned this in another video, there was a lot of glitching going on near the end of the show, right? And, if that was to do with the Wyatt Six, which like the type of glitching it was seemed very almost on purpose, right? Because I don't know, it was just very weird. Very odd time to have it during the main event, but I get it. Maybe they're trying to send a message, right? Like that's cool in that way. So maybe that has something to do with it. A lot of people are playing into that. It could honestly just be a glitch. These things happen with live TV all the time. And this is only Netflix's, I think, 4th show at this point. So, or Raw, I should say, but very interesting in that way. Maybe, something is playing into that. Maybe they are, they have pivoted. Maybe they all end up on Raw, right? We don't know what the plan is exactly because WWE, Casey, they pivot all the time. Things change all the time. So they could end up on Raw. I don't know exactly what the plan is. I think it's best for business. And I hate to use that term all the time. John Cena just used that term. But I think it's actually best for business that they do end up on Raw and on Netflix. But we'll see how that plays out. They were originally scheduled to end up on SmackDown. So we'll see what happens. But I do think you nailed it on the head. She came back because she wants to perform for sure. But I think she came back to kind of continue that story, continue as a legacy as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm always a SmackDown guy, so seeing these talented people in this crazy storyline move to SmackDown, I'm excited for it because it's my favorite show. I mean, I grew up and SmackDown was my favorite show, so I just love seeing what they're going to do with this and how they're going to implement her into the Wyatt Six, because originally, it was 5 members and the 6th one being an honorary spot for Bray Wyatt. So it's very interesting to see what is going to happen, because are they going to bring her into the faction? Are they going to rival? It's going to be interesting to see how they implement this, and it's definitely going to be a very, very big storyline here on SmackDown, and I'm very excited for it. We want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you think? What are they going to do with Alexa Bliss? How are they going to implement her in here? But there's no doubt about it. She returned, and I'm excited for it. Little Miss Bliss is back, and I hope they break out the swing on Friday nights. But as always, I've been your host, Casey, alongside my co-host, Darius. We'll catch you in the next one.